Yeah, so if we can add anything, so if you said 5.3, we're gonna update on the Buy Local, Buy on Bowen campaign.
Yeah.
And then if I can add 5.4, a very brief update on a possible subcommittee with the Housing Authority, or Housing Advisory Committee.
Cool. Anybody else got any changes they want to make? Okay, motion to approve the agenda. Robin,
Who?
all in favour? Yeah.
Yep.
Adoption of the minutes from the last meeting. Anybody got any comments? I looked through them, they looked okay to me. Okay, somebody like to propose we adopt
I'll
minutes?
move to adopt.
Rod, all in favour of? Okay, carried unanimously. Public comments. Do you have some public comments? No, okay. Cam, you don't need?
Nope.
Well, this would, do you want to raise something to the committee, or?
No, I just wanted to come today to witness what's going on here.
Okay.
Okay,
I hope that's all right.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all videoed as well. So it's, yeah, we're a bit short of people today, it's usually about 4 more. And we're just working through the agenda. Okay. Usually, sometimes we have referrals from council, but for different projects that are on the island for our comments. But with it being a new council, it's just a little bit of a transition phase right now, so there's not as much going on as there might be normally.
Right.
Action items, Steph.
Okay, from before, Maureen, we're going to talk about sharing the idea of collaborating with Tourism Bowen Island and the business community to develop a new tourism strategy, maybe a workshop. Yep, still something we're thinking about.
Oh, yeah, now more than ever, we had a meeting, I'll get to meet, but
So we'll talk about that
We're
during the
going to talk
tourism
about
update.
tourism.
we finally had a meeting, and it went really well, actually, good, yeah.
Excellent, yeah, look forward to that update. And then Robin and Steph doing the Shop Local campaign, we'll be updating that on 5.3. And letter of support to the community center project, excellent letter was written
Yeah.
for the
Brilliant.
community center support, and they are very appreciative, and we hope that more come that way. I think I attached it as an information item possibly, if not, I can send it.
May I interject something here? The Arts Council is looking, because they're partnering with the Muni, individual letters to council are more than welcome, they're needed. So we did our group, our committee letter, but if the rest of us would just do an individual letter saying we're in support of the community center, if we are, of course, that would add to the.
It's like the grant applications, they see those as votes from the community, so. Quick one.
Cool.
Tell your friends.
And you can also pledge, you can go to the website and pledge money if you want. You don't actually have to pay it. Unless they build the thing.
Oh, I see.
So that's another way of.
$20.
So,
$20 is worth a lot
yeah,
for the grant application, which is $7.3 million. Trade in 20 for 7.3.
this is gonna happen now, it's gonna happen this time, or it's never gonna happen,
I think that's the
Yeah, I
case.
think that's a good way to put it.
Yes.
So hopefully it will happen.
Unfortunate.
Okay, the building, business arising from the minutes, we had the meeting with the building trade, breakfast. You were there, Cam, maybe that's why you're here now. Fascinated you with what we're doing. And there are notes here from that meeting.
So because there were notes from the retail and from the food, and I think these are going to be, I think these might stick around in life as something. So I'm thinking I'd rather have a resolution from the committee approving the notes so that they have weight
Sure.
for future data.
Should we approve them collectively as a set of notes?
I
rather
just,
than-
yeah,
or
just add
these
that the
ones?
economic development committee, oh, you mean all three?
Well, just, or do you want us to do this?
Sure. Yeah, let's add them.
Individually?
Put them
So
on.
that because that's pretty much, this will be it for the year. So we could say for
Yeah.
2018, the three public, the three business engagement sessions that we had, here are the notes as a record of those engagement sessions. And like, what are we moving? That they're just part of the term
That you
record?
approve them.
That we approve them?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I write them, and if no one reads them, and then they, like, just that you guys agree that that was
This
a
is a-
significant takeaway from it.
Okay. This is-
And have we circulated this to the
No.
attendees?
No, two things happened. One, strangely, all the emails that went out, in fact, the people who attended, I only had email addresses for about 3 of them. I've got Sandy working on it. So I held off, and then I thought, why not wait till you guys approve the notes before sending them out?
Yeah, well, I think we should follow up with people about
Absolutely.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of points raised that, we couldn't really do much about the regulation thing, the code and that kind of stuff is really beyond us, but it was good that there was quite a few councillors there who heard it. I don't know how you felt about the meeting, Cam, was it useful or helpful?
I thought it was a good first step. It's kind of hard for that to really turn into everyone walking away thinking, great, we've solved that.
Yeah,
Because I think there was kind of none of that.
yeah,
But I think it's really worthwhile. It's the first time I've felt like I've been given the opportunity to, to work towards any kind of solution like that. First time anyone's asked.
wow.
Well, that's nice to hear it.
Yeah, it was, and that's what we feel is one of our functions is to try to facilitate that connection between businesses and council. Because council says they're interested in business, and I'm sure they are, but they're very busy, so if we can do these kinds of things, getting them to a meeting with people, it really is helpful, I think, for both sides.
And we can take these notes and include them in the annual report for council?
Yeah,
That would be good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, do you have any further comments on that?
Don't think so.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, thanks for that, Steph.
May I just jump in then and ask Cam if you don't mind, is it something that you would like to see happen regularly, like once a year, or like, because you said it was the first time somebody asked, so hopefully that's a
Yeah.
positive thing. Do you see it as a regular thing being a good
That's
thing?
probably a good idea. Maybe not more often than once a year, because I think if it happened monthly, the numbers would dwindle down to almost
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with the turnout. I
Mm.
was really impressed by that,
Yeah.
because there was not a person there that didn't have other things to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All of
absolutely.
you guys included, but maybe not too frequently.
Yeah, but once a year would be about right.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think that's a really good idea.
Okay,
I
thank you.
know that when I was calling some of the people on the list, I was following up just to see if people were coming. That some of the people I talked to said, oh, I really can't make it for that day, but I look forward, I would want to come to the next one. So, assuming there would be another one, which we didn't know at that point.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
So I think that's a great idea. I think we should,
Yeah, I think it's maybe just a discussion point
Right.
for us.
Yes.
Not today maybe, but, if we're planning for next year, is there more to revisit? Should we repeat? Like, just kind of how to strategize to keep this engagement going.
Yeah.
Did you feel breakfast is the appropriate time to do this, as opposed to, let's say,
An evening or?
evening or
Um,
late afternoon after work?
Yeah, I'm trying not to just answer for myself,
Yes.
but sort of my colleagues
Yes.
as well. The timing I thought was pretty good.
Okay.
I might have been happier if there wasn't breakfast, so that we could have just sat down and got straight to work
Mhm.
and kept it as brief as would have been effective. I did sort of find myself, I don't know, I think narrowing the time involved would be helpful.
Okay.
I got nothing against breakfast.
I wonder if we should have some kind of working group to follow up on these meetings, though, because, a lot of good stuff is coming out of them. Some of it is more informational, some of it is for council to hear. But it would be good to sort of keep up track of all these things that's coming out of it and have a group.
I'd be happy to be a part of that group.
Would you? Good.
And we can look at what we've done, look at other parts we've missed. I know, I gotta do something on this committee, so I'm here. And then plan for if there are repeats or whatever, because I know one I've heard from some nonprofits on the island that they might be interested in being, having an engagement session as well,
The
so.
business liaison working group.
Yeah, community engagement, whatever you want,
Yeah.
business engagement, local economy engagement, whatever we want to call
Yeah.
it, we can figure out the name, but I'd be happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Do you want it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from my perspective, I'm thinking, you know, like knowing your professional role as an architect, a comment was made to me that there is a precedent, and I didn't really know this. I thought building trades associations were like the Vancouver Board of Trade, and you know, it's like big time company things. But apparently there are examples of small communities that have building trades just associations, and I don't know how that works, and I don't know if it works well or not, or how it gets organized, or you know. So it might be interesting for us to talk separately and just kind of educate ourselves about maybe a couple other communities and what they do, because separate from the EDC,
Yeah.
but in connection maybe, you know,
Yeah.
keeping the EDC abreast if there is an opportunity for that would interest tradespeople on board to
Yeah,
meet
I think it
on
would be
their own.
interesting. I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Well, it struck me from going to all three of these breakfasts is that when you ask people, you know, what are these issues, they come up with a whole bunch of issues. But these issues been there a long time, and they could have been addressed before, probably by themselves. They could have, you know, got together and said, well, we want that sign changed. But they haven't. So I think there is a need for some. I don't want the EDC to be the solver of all these issues, but if we
No.
can facilitate
But I think if
getting other people
Yeah.
involved,
we hold the space,
Yes.
we hear, we give people permission to come in, speak, be heard, we ask them, we hear, we record, it's on the record, we pass it around. Hey, maybe there's one or two things we can actually work on. Awesome. If not, it's, you know, it's out there for other people at least to know.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're collecting the data.
and to encourage them to have their own little
Yeah.
associations to help.
Yeah, once they can
To
see
do
that,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of people have the
Okay,
same issues.
well,
Did you want to loop Anna Donnelly in, Rod, to your education
Yeah.
process about business association?
Okay, so yeah, me and Rod and Anna.
And Bonnie, were you interested in that, or?
Yeah. Is it, oh, so this is all part of the same thing? Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm adding
perfect.
you to the subcommittee, which we will name, it'll come to us.
Yeah, some sort of engagement.
And this is just trades, are we talking about it?
No,
Or is it-
No,
Okay.
I think it might have a couple of
Yeah,
purposes. It's broadly engagement, and then one specific goal we might do is to talk about this specific construction thing.
Yeah.
But broadly, it's about these engagement
yeah,
sessions.
the breakfast engagement.
I will have limited time for the next 3 or 4 months, but I'd be very interested in putting as much time as I can
Oh,
in,
great.
because this is something we've been talking about for.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it might be that maybe you and I can brainstorm like
Yes.
on facilitating or
Yes.
sessions or how to make the most of it. Because I agree with what Cam said, I actually found it a little frustrating, maybe an hour and a half, and about half an hour was kind of spent on
Yes,
breakfast.
yes.
I really wanted to like get into it and talk, and it was like
Stop eating
partly
that.
menu, partly service, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, there might be, we could
Good.
work on the actual
Okay.
planning of the sessions
Just
to
have
maximize
coffee.
them. Yeah,
Yeah,
coffee,
coffee
pastries or
and
whatever, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
here.
we'll figure it out.
okay, well, thank you, Robin,
thanks.
and thank you, Ron, and thank you for getting so many people there. Good
Yeah,
work.
thank you.
Yeah, that was
We're
great.
not good at that, so that's.
Excellent. Great,
Can I get a
okay.
resolution, please? That we have
So the
to-
resolution that we form a working group?
No, I need to approve the notes first.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that the EDC approve the notes from the 3 engagement sessions of 2018, food date, retail date, building trades date, and recommend that they be included in the Economic Development Committee 2018 annual report to council.
yeah.
Yes.
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 So,
I'd love to do a recommendation for the subcommittee, that the Economic Development Committee strike an engagement subcommittee, including Robin Fenton, Vaughn Colbert, Rod Marsh, and Ed Walkman.
Are we a committee or a working group?
working group,
Working group.
Okay.
Okay.
good, yeah.
Move it?
Well, yeah, with that,
Yeah.
yeah.
In favor?
Well done,
Excellent.
Steph,
Thank you.
keeping us on track. Okay, business licensing. So this is where we're gonna hear some follow-up to business license.
So this is Daniel Martin, a manager of planning development, and this is Tess Taylor, our business licensing inspector. Welcome.
And in your package you have, Steph's kind of gives us the,
Oh yeah, the on-table item is a package of applications that Daniel's provided from other communities.
Yes.
And there should be something in the agenda as well.
Yeah, that's the
so
bylaw.
the first one is Gibson's, and
And
then
schedule.
the multi-page one is Seashell.
Yeah, the opposite page, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then it's North Van and then West Van.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just speak briefly to what's on your agenda as well, and then we can go more into the actual these applications. So, we're, sorry, 9 to 11, no, 12 to
Page
18.
12?
Page 12.
So we're bringing a bylaw to council that's to amend our, what's called the bylaw enforcement notice, I think, so it's to add a fining schedule to the business license bylaw. So essentially we're trying to say there'd be a fining schedule for operating without a business license. And then to amend the business license bylaw, just put in language that says each day that you have an offense is a new offense. And what we're sort of stressing for council is this is to give us tools to do things. But it's almost separate from our, like an enforcement strategy. Like these are tools that we have as opposed to our strategy to do it. So when we've spoken to council, it's that, it comes into effect, the bylaw itself comes into effect, and the need for business licensing as of January 1st, 2019. And we've already spoken to council about, well, we're not doing any enforcement for like 3 months. Our focus is on education, compliance, stuff like that. We've directed from council to report back, I believe it's in September of 2019. And so I think at that point, we'd be bringing them something saying, well, we feel like there was probably this many businesses, and it seems like we've got this many. And that if we wanted to ever sort of move towards sort of more proactive enforcement, we would be having council direction to do that, and we'd be doing education and stuff like that leading up to it. So what I could see us doing through 2019 is contacting businesses that we are aware of that we know haven't got their license, but more still following that sort of education and compliance approach of saying, you may be unaware, but we've adopted this business license. Here's the application form. Let us help you fill it out, rather than saying this. But this is sort of the, starting low in terms of, I think the first offense is like $50 or $25 or something like that, right? But then the teeth of it is then the change to the business license bylaw itself, so each offense is a new day. So if there's somebody who's just blatantly not doing it, and they're ignoring it, and they say, I'm just gonna keep doing it, then we would say, okay, well, we're gonna give you a ticket each day.
So it could be $150 a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody ignores it for 10 days, that's $1,500.
Yeah, we would have to give a ticket, like it's not just, you don't just get to say, we sent you a letter 3 months ago, now you've got 90 days of stuff. It would be, the bylaw would come out and give a ticket and say you need to apply, and then apply the next day would come back and another ticket or something like that. Yeah, so this is sort of standard in like a lot of our bylaws that we don't actually use, but it's sort of there for the rotten apple.
So this is going to, how is this going to be, and how will we know that someone hasn't applied? Hasn't complied,
Yeah.
complied.
So like how would the municipality know?
Yeah.
I guess that we don't have an application, they don't have a business license, so. the
Okay.
business
How
license-
do we know someone doesn't have a business license? How do we know they haven't complied if we don't know they're running a business?
Right. I think the most obvious ones are like instant, like you're a commercial
Okay.
storefront and you don't have a business license, it's fairly obvious, right? We say you can display it, they don't have it. Or the next is your advertising.
Okay.
So when I think about, how we're reaching out to people, those are the most obvious ones, is that, you've got an ad in the undercurrent, but you don't have a business
Okay,
license.
starting that way.
Yeah, starting
Sort
that
of
way.
like a concentric
Yeah.
circle moving into the more invisible businesses.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that sense, it's like the person who's doing web graphics in their basement, right? I don't think would we ever know? I don't think we'd ever know.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out from the breakfast, the
Yeah.
trades breakfast, was that people were concerned that maybe they've been technical infringement of the bylaws. You know,
Mhm.
they've been storing stuff on their property.
Yeah.
They're worried that if they get the bylaw, if they apply for the business license, suddenly they're going to get, you know, caught for that.
Yeah.
Is it, have we got a clear policy on that, or
So what,
is it a Q&A
yeah,
session?
where I think this coming, so what Tess and I have been doing, so Tess has been hired as our business license inspector at halftime, and I think that was on Monday that the transition took place from, so. But it's one of the first things we were doing, that's why we were almost starting with sort of application forms, because saying, okay, what are we requiring for people when they apply? Because then it kind of, that leads to questions of like, well, what do we care about? Like, we're only asking for things that we care about or that we're gonna take action for. So we quite liked some of them, so like West Van, so that's the very last page of this. They essentially have this page where they say, these are our regulations for home-based businesses, which are, you know, slightly different than ours, but similar. And somebody signs and they say, I comply with it. So that essentially takes away the need for, if, you know, a contractor applies, we're not going out and inspecting and sort of digging around, but we're saying, these are our regulations that are in the land use bylaw. They're not changed because of our business license bylaw. Somebody's signing it. Right, I comply with this. If then the neighbor complains and says, he's storing all this junk in the backyard, it's really unsightly, it's whatever, you know, then we're going out to inspect and we're saying, you know, you signed, you complied with this, and it looks like you're not, can you bring it into compliance? And if that isn't done, then that threat is, okay, when you come to renew, you're not gonna get it renewed. Or, you know, bad case, we're gonna pull it. But essentially that approach, so we're not going out and digging for problems, but we're saying, this is what our regulations are, you're gonna sign and say you meet them.
Yes.
Right.
And if you don't, then we're gonna have a conversation about it.
But essentially, it's the situation from today to next year when they have this doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's basically complaints based. So
Yeah.
if somebody
Yeah.
drives by and sees something, or a neighbor, it's too noisy or smelly
Yeah.
or something, so it's nothing really changing, but it's just being formalized.
Yeah.
In that you're signing to say that you comply.
Mhm.
I think
And
that's a great
yeah.
strategy. I really like that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
more we looked into it, the more we thought, we're not, like, it's in our bylaws, so I never want to take it away, our option to say, we can go and inspect to make sure you're complying.
Mhm.
But as a practical matter, this is the first step, if somebody says, I'm compliant, we say, that's great, you've asserted that you're compliant.
Yeah.
What about things like Airbnb?
So, I mean, so I guess that's a two-part. One is like a bigger thing, and that our land use bylaw doesn't allow Airbnb. What we are having, yeah, is we have an application before the planning department now for a temporary use permit for a commercial guest accommodation. So somebody's renting there, you know, on Airbnb, they're not living there. We got a complaint, we investigated, they applied for a temporary use permit to allow the use, and that's going to council on Monday. And what staff's recommending is not proceed with that, but instead develop a work plan essentially for consultation for an island-wide approach, and to refer that to the Housing Advisory Committee and the Economic Development Committee. So, I don't know what council's gonna decide on the 26th, I think is their meeting, but that's our recommendation, is that we can't just approach it on, because we got a complaint on one property, we'll deal with it on this one property, but we need to say we need a bigger conversation to guide our policy.
And that's because you can't license something that's not legal, correct?
Yeah, so in terms of that, somebody who's renting out their property as an Airbnb, if they're doing a bed and breakfast, they can get a license. If they're doing sort of a commercial guest accommodation overnight, they don't comply with our land use bylaw, they can't get a license.
But theoretically, council, if they wanted to, could issue a temporary
Yeah.
use permit.
And so a few communities, that's their approach, is they say, we'll do a temporary use permit, people apply, we consider it, the neighbors get to weigh in, and they get a temporary use permit for 3 years. They're legal, if they're good, they can renew it, if they're bad, they get pulled. And some places go kind of the next step to that, and they say, we'll allow it by temporary use permit, but we put a cap on the community-wide. So council could say, that's our policy, we'll have a temporary use permit, but we're only gonna let 50 or 100 or 100 or whatever the number is. And you say, okay, we'll allow this many, and then if you want another one after that, you're stuck. But if people are bad on that list, then they're not gonna get them, and now we've got more slots for people. Those are all sort of, you know, it's on the policy range.
And what about, how are you going to contact people, trades coming off from the mainland to the island? Because that's something that we heard from the trades breakfast, is that they want
Mhm.
people like that to be licensed,
Yeah.
because they have to be licensed when people come here, get over that.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, our first stop is essentially our building desk.
Yeah.
So the building permit process, so it's telling people who need building permits,
Yes.
you need a business license, your subcontractors need business licenses, and then it's education on the job site as well. And then the challenge then is, you know, people are coming over who are doing work that doesn't need
Yeah.
a building permit, how are we capturing them?
Mm.
Yes. because they slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
Sometimes, too,
Yeah.
people just don't.
But
Or
that
even
probably
like-
happens in every municipality,
Yeah, I
right?
think so,
Like-
yeah. And so,
How
I'm
do
not totally
other,
sure.
how do, Rod, how do other, you did the research on this. How
Yeah.
do other municipalities capture visiting tradespeople?
Well, I think a lot like what we've been saying is they, for, like, in particularly my experience as a painting company working in Vancouver, West Van, you know, different jurisdictions in the Lower Mainland in particular, that I have taken out business licenses because I didn't want to be in contravention,
Yeah.
but I've never been asked by any of the general contractors I worked for or any of the homeowners I worked for in those jurisdictions if I had a business license.
Mhm.
So, had I never taken out a Vancouver business license, would I have ever been approached to get one? I don't think so.
Okay.
To me, I thought it was a bit of a marketing thing, so if they did check, they'd say, oh yeah, he's a reputable guy, he's
Yeah.
got a business license.
Okay.
One of the things I was hoping to see on the form is to find out what do people do. And I wondered whether, because not from a regulatory point
Yeah.
point of view, but to be able to use that information to connect with the businesses, to improve the connections between businesses. You know, somebody needs somebody who does websites or does plumbing or whatever. This could be a great database of information that would really help the economy.
yeah,
And I wondered if there's a place to put in here a kind of a marketing, to bill it as a sort of a marketing thing for businesses, to say, look, you know, tell people about your business, get in our database, get in the network, and tell us what you do.
The, I think it was West Vancouver's Schedule A with all those lists of,
seashells?
was it
Seashells.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the 2.5 page
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
That's not useful for us.
No.
No. We actually,
Oh.
if you reminded me, we had, when we did the business conversations, we had a list of about 20 that we, remember, we came up with a list of 20
Yeah.
different types of businesses that we thought about. And we'll share that to you, might be a
Sure.
way to start,
Yeah.
remind me.
Why do you think this is not useful?
It doesn't,
It's too, there's too many.
yeah, there's too many, you know, it's both very specific and very broad. For example, you have off-track vetting, that's pretty specific, and then you have consulting.
Right,
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'd rather know what kind of consulting.
right.
And according to this list, they would like to license vending machines. I don't know what that is, vending machines?
I was
Like
just
vending
gonna jump in, I
Yeah.
seem to
Like what is-
remember, was it Maureen or somebody said, could we look at, because there are a few different reasons why we want this information, but one of them might be applying for grants or
Yeah.
having the data on our economy. What are standardized categories of businesses from, I don't know, census data or the standard economic,
Yeah.
measurements that the government takes? I think that would be a great place to start. And if it's a page and a half, then okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
And we whittle it down, but that would at least be a one place to start, because if we're trying to,
Yeah.
get into those
Yeah.
different categories, and, maybe it's broad, it's tourism, construction, services, all of that, I don't
It
know.
could be it could be a good start, but I think
Yes.
what we want is, we want to get people to say what do they do. Describe your business in one sentence.
I like that idea.
Because
Yeah, but I think that's different in some ways. I think we need an actual data point of a category, and then I think
Check
different.
here, describe.
Yeah, and then for your purposes, what you're getting at exactly is if optional, give us a sentence and that gets listed on some registry database or website
Yeah.
or whatever. But I think they serve in some ways different purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we want is, we want that sort of description, so we want people to tell us what you do. And then I think that we want some way that then we're coding it. So I know one of the people who came to the open house talked about sort of a code that I know Tessa looked into.
Yeah, there's two
Okay.
different North American standard codes, and it's just gonna be a matter of us going over them and
Yeah.
distinguishing.
But I think rather than getting the list and telling people, tick your thing or something,
Right.
we'll say, tell us what you do, and then we're actually gonna
And
go
we'll
and say, and we'll
Okay.
classify it.
Okay.
That's not too
Um,
onerous.
But I think, I do like the idea of too, maybe giving people the option of saying like, what's a business, or like give us by email, what's your business blurb or something
Mhm.
like that. Because one of the things that we've noticed people don't have, that we wanted to give is like an optional website or something like that. So when, again, when you link to the website, you say, oh, here's this thing, and then I can just click on here straight and go to the website.
Yeah,
too.
it's
I think
amazing
it's-
they don't have websites.
Yeah,
on
I thought that was odd.
And that becomes a benefit.
Yeah, and so things like that are optional, we don't, because even like, you know, most places ask about like how many employees do you have, and we were gonna have
Yeah.
something like that, even though for our point, it's not determining your fee. That's why a lot of places do it, because they determine their fee by that, but we're just saying, because we want to know.
It's a data point.
And so it's like, what else do
Yeah.
we want to know that's not, we're not saying it's not like, it's not determining your fee or anything like that, but it's like, this is sort of our data collection
Just
piece.
do we have to ask permission to use this data or to put them in?
So which one is it that had the good disclaimer?
It's the one,
Seashell. Seashell has this disclaimer, so it says in the one place, one point, this is FOIable, so anybody who submits stuff, it's subject to Freedom of Information Act. And then the second point is say, the business license records are public records, so obviously it's public record, somebody says, does also have a business license, that's a public record. Yes, they do, and no, they don't. And then, but we make it, this says, the District of Seashell also makes business license information available in various additional publications on the website and hard copy. And this is if you do not wish your business information to be made available, request in writing to decline publication. And we're gonna put something like that in,
Yeah.
with the same
or
thing to
like
say.
aggregate data or something. like
Yeah,
that, right?
that like, yeah, generally, you know, you're having a business license is public. And then, but we wanna do more with it and tell people about your businesses. If you don't want that for whatever reason, then tell us and
Yeah.
we'll exclude you. But-
Cool.
We
Yeah.
were tossing around the idea of like a 30, very informally, if I recall, maybe a 3-month sign up for free.
Yeah,
Is that not going to happen, or,
it's not gonna happen in part
Okay.
because we don't have an application fee.
okay,
So that's what I've been talking about was like, some places have an app, so they say your business license is $100
Yeah.
and your processing fee is $25 or something
Okay.
like that, right? And so we would do that, but we would say, but if you do it in 2019, you don't pay the $25.
okay,
And we just essentially don't have the application fee in place.
okay.
And we floated with our finance department, they're not having fees, and they basically said no.
Because we're not paying
Yeah, we're
tax.
not paying tax, so we're not
So,
gonna
yeah.
charge people, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, but I think you've already said it's a 3-month, like a soft landing, it's a
Yeah.
reminder of people to do it in the first, you know, if I forget January 2nd to come
Yeah.
in and do it, you know, I've got
And-
a few months to
Yeah,
remember.
and it's partly for our
Yeah.
sake, so we don't
Yeah.
get,
Have
if
all
every-
the
everybody just
applications
Right,
by
January
applies
1st.
on,
Yeah.
January 1st,
Yeah,
we're gonna have a fun month.
And are we gonna be able to apply online?
We're
Not
still
yet,
looking into
yeah,
that, but
right.
not yet. And essentially, when I was looking through it, it's like, I think the city of North Van you apply online, city of Vancouver, but very few other places do.
Okay,
okay.
Some of them, most of them they have like essentially a fillable PDF, and they require like a signature.
okay,
But they allow you to, you know, you like scan it and email it or something like that. And we're working with the finance department on payment options. So like the city of West Van, you apply, and then you can apply online, and then they'll send you an account number, and then you can pay online. Or they say if you need to do it right away, submit it, call us, and we'll set up an account number for you so you can pay.
And then Newell's easy, they just say, oh, nothing's changed.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing is a lot of them have sort of a tick box option to start, and so they say like, is this a new business? Is this have you changed your name? Have you changed your location? Something like that. And we'll have something like that, but we'll put initially when we say new, we want to make clear that it's a new business license because right now nobody has a business license, but you're not a new business.
Yeah.
But to renew, you wouldn't be doing a new form. You're just saying you're just paying for the next year because
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing's changed.
and I think, because I'm trying to remember when I had City Vancouver and again, it was online, and this might be a bit sophisticated, but
Yeah.
ideal if we can make it
Yeah.
happen, when you went to renew, it just auto-filled everything. And then you
Right.
had to just
Okay.
like, oh, just check that this is correct still,
Right,
has your
just
address
search
changed
on
or
it,
anything
yeah.
like that. But yeah, like, so when you renew, it was blank, you filled it
Okay.
out, but when, as soon as you sort of logged into your
Yeah.
account to renew, it was all auto-filled,
Yeah.
and then you could just go through to payment, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if that,
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
might be a
We're
little
taking
bit
this, yeah.
sophisticated.
Okay.
The lucky thing is for renewal, we have a year to figure out.
You do have a year to figure it out, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed.
Is there any, sorry, I know we're trying to move along, is there any other data points, just because like this is the chance for us to
Or
think
people
about
think
it?
of it, yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, maybe if we think about it, but those are the, like, this is our chance, like, what do we want on the application form? That, you know, so number of employees, type of business,
Mhm.
give us a description, I know, I think we talked about it and it's been totally ixnayed about asking about revenue or anything like that, but yeah, anyways, just
I
inviting
think
people
it's a
to.
great start, you can always add more, I think if we
Yeah.
get if we ask too much, it
Yeah.
might be a bit off-putting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well,
I think keeping it simple, and the fact that you have the disclaimer about that your information will be published or could be published
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah.
Just one thought is, that might be helpful is, with the business coding, you're talking about testing with the different
Yeah.
systems. Not all, I know not all businesses, like sole proprietors, have to have WCB, but everyone who has WCB is coded for WCB. And as long as you have the
That's
same
a
code
good
as your
point.
WCB, it should be correct. So if you guys are trying to decipher what code they should be,
Yeah.
maybe you should just make sure it jives with your WCB,
Okay.
which you can look up
Yeah.
online.
Yeah,
or in
yeah, it's
business,
very
right?
easy to look up online.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
cool, good idea.
Yes.
Will
Okay.
you
I'll see
be
if
sending
John-
a draft around if you guys make an application form? Will you
Yeah.
send it around to the EDC?
Yeah, if
Okay.
EDC wants that, we're happy to start
You
to make
guys
a draft.
can
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks,
Yeah.
Dan.
Because we'll probably have a draft to the December meeting. I guess I'll check here what it says.
I think a Q&A thing would be good as well.
Yes.
FAQ, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, there is already one
Oh,
page on
so
the
Sophie has
website.
Yeah, do you
developed
wanna-
one that's actually on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
December 14th.
Okay.
But yeah, especially that policy of, hey, that zoning thing that we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're gonna, I don't know what the right, I can't find the right word, but
Just gonna
self-declare
Yeah.
that you comply, and unless there's a complaint, we're not gonna inspect your property. I think that's a really
Yeah.
important one to put out there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, really appreciate coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
very much indeed. I think we're all on the same page here. It's very good.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
great, thank you, great,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Speaking of the December meeting, the 14th, you will be there.
yeah, oh, no. That was a pretty wild spot.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So is it going on?
no, it's us, it's Robin and I.
What's,
There's two added agenda items,
Oh, I see,
5.3 and 5.4.
And I should have added one about the story of the working group.
Oh, sorry, is that in there?
No, it
Oh, it's
isn't.
not in there.
That's fine.
Well, there's nobody from council here, so you can take council, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a 2-minute.
okay, we're gonna have to move on slightly
Okay.
quicker to this bit,
Yeah.
so.
can I go, Robin?
Yeah, please.
So I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am.
Yay.
Because Robin did all that great work with the slogans and some images, and then we were talking about doing a buy local campaign, and we asked the retail people to volunteer and stuff, and no one did, and there's were punch cards in the past, and often very onerous and spinning your wheels, so we're just gonna nail it. Also, communications department is opened up, they're breathing a little bit, they've got a little time, so I've been meeting with them. I've made an executive decision and paid for ad space without asking you, because I wanted to get it on Friday. We have a lot of budget to spend, and if we don't spend it, we're not gonna get it. So I'm gonna be asking you to make a recommendation about further ad space, but I did get into this one. Buy local week is December 3rd to 5th, so that's why I wanted to get in for here. The island page that we have, we get bumped off that when statutory notices come, so I don't have reliability. So if we pay for our space, it's always in there. Hooked up with Loco. Chris Morgan was sending them around a lot. They're brilliant, but I feel like they just kept being around and never really know what to do with them. Like, what are we actually doing with them? So what we're doing with them is, if you guys are okay with this, we can do a recommendation. We're gonna partner with them. We're gonna pay them.
Well, they have essentially different levels of partnership, so it's essentially you find a membership with them or whatever it is, so yeah. there was-
Yeah, so there are levels of partnership here. So it's custom, supporter, champion, leader, change maker, and movement builder. Movement builder is $5,000.
We're not suggesting that.
We're not suggesting that. Champion is $500. We are suggesting that.
And what does it get us?
What
I
does
can't
it
remember.
get?
Yeah, okay.
So it gets us access to their digital collateral right
So
away.
it gets
that
us
just
a
gives us-
website listing, yeah, shareable digital collateral, so they create little logos and images and all that kind of stuff. And then it also gets us targeted digital advertising, social media support.
They create
They create
logos
stuff.
and stuff?
Okay,
So,
so
for
there's like a
example-
little
this is what's
Like, so Buy Local Week, BC, it's that little circle
Yeah, I'm
and
super
that
familiar
and-
with them, but would
Yeah.
they be creating stuff based on their current branding?
they would send us things and we will be
It's
manipulating
standard
it.
stuff.
Okay,
So
so what
they're
am I?
not custom making anything, that costs $2,500.
Okay, fair enough, I
to
totally
join.
get that. I just have a really hard time with things that happen on Bowen that don't fall into the established brand that we started 2 years ago. I see this
Okay.
coming,
Look,
I know, I'm not
yeah.
trying to argue, I
No,
want
no,
this
but
to
how
happen.
look?
How
Okay.
excited are you?
Are you in my head right now? Is that what you're
We're in
like?
your head, we're at it, yeah.
Ta-da!
Oh, perfect, okay. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we've
yeah.
taken there because they want their brand on it and we want to be connected
Yes,
with
and
the
it makes
province.
sense that they want their.
And then we
brand.
got our brand on it and we got the Economic Development Committee
Yeah.
as the promoters of it. This image itself is not my super favorite one, but it's just one to just
to give an
get
idea.
us out
Because
the
we're doing a
door.
few ads, like we're
So
gonna
then-
be doing it every week for a few weeks, right?
Yeah, so then we have a plan going from now until basically March, if you guys are okay with that, which is just a weekly ad. It'll have something pithy.
Yeah, those little ones I
drink-
brought
what
last
is it,
time.
eat,
Just
drink,
the funny,
and
yeah, eat, drink,
shop
and buy
local,
local or something, yeah.
Christmas. So that's the weekly one. Or just a little reminder every week from the EDC to the community. Gentle reminders, the feedback I've heard is please don't pressure me, don't make me feel guilty, don't make me not go to Costco.
Right, yeah.
But then there is, for the week, it's 7 days, 7 ways, 7 days. And there's 7 reasons to shop local. So we will do a digital, like a Facebook, every day for that week,
Oh, yeah, for the Buy Local Week, that
for
one.
the buy local week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Is
that
Buy
exciting?
Local? Can we say Buy on Bowen?
Well, Buy
Well,
Local
they
is
didn't-
their campaign.
It's their campaign, BC Buy Local Week.
The retail group didn't like that. Remember that someone put up their hand and said they prefer buy local because it loops them into the bigger movement? What's her name?
Oh,
Nearest?
Marie
Neris?
Oh,
Neris.
Marie.
Marie
Marie
Yes.
Nace. She said that. She would prefer not to say buy on both.
You know what, I think for like, given the constraints on time and resources, and that it's our first year doing it, I think this is great.
And
Like,
I-
let's jump on the bandwagon and go with
Yeah.
it, see how it goes, touch base in March, and then if we think, hey, for next year, because I think it's totally worth doing in the winter, I don't know so much in the summer, it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But then we can look at it for next year and say, hey, should we shift, do we want
Yeah,
to partner
yeah.
with them again?
And next year we can even talk to some of the retail businesses, see if they're interested in supporting it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that the Buy on Bowen thing has been done to death
Yeah.
already. So I
Right.
think we need to take it in a different direction.
Yeah.
I
And I
like
think-
this because it
Yeah.
explains it a little bit.
Yeah, and I've seen that in town, right? I've seen
Yeah,
the
I know that-
sticker
I
and it's
know-
familiar.
I know by BC or
Who's,
BC.
are we
yeah.
going to distribute the stickers to the,
So they apparently, so I signed up like ages ago, like just trying on their website, so I think they are actually sending me, like personally, I signed up for my PO Box, a package with some stickers and stuff, so.
That's what I was thinking with that. We just start with this
Yeah.
and then maybe at the summit, the yet defined summit.
Right,
Have some specific action items for businesses to say, do you want to sign up? How much does it cost for an individual business to sign up? Not very much.
Uh,
Just, and then they can put stickers on their things.
And how big is the ad going to be in the Undercurrent?
I think she said 1/5 of a page.
Did you order it for this Friday? Like
Yeah.
Today? So
Yeah.
it would have come out yesterday, so we could look.
No, sorry, next week.
Oh, next week, okay.
Cool. I think it's great.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
I
excited.
think, you know, great initiative, Stephanie.
Partners,
Good
yeah.
And the other thing they did recommend on this was proclaiming,
Oh, right,
proclamation, very mayoral word.
that it's
And
Buy
then-
Local Week.
Yeah, so I thought about that. I know that the previous mayor wasn't big on proclamations, and the new mayor is very new. So I just thought maybe we'll wait till next year before asking council to make a proclamation or just
Well,
give us some time. But
yeah.
this year, we're just gonna proclaim it ourselves.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so we're making a
Committee.
recommendation. So are you guys okay with that ad space idea?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
How much does
So
it cost? Like,
I emailed them that last night at like 11. Can you remind me to ask you how much it costs?
okay,
Let me,
just asking for a fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah.
you know, I'm asking you to make a recommendation on something you don't know. Okay.
By the way, Cam, I have to warn you, if you sit through the whole meeting, you have to join the committee.
Yeah.
Thanks for the work.
Actually, if you sit in the first 2 rows, you're already on.
You're already on the committee.
While Steph's looking for that, just something that came up, I don't know if it's on here. Oh, it is on here, never mind, the business summit, because we really actually should get on that.
really.
Okay, well, let's move on to that stuff and you can,
Yeah.
But can I get your recommendation even without?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I.
That the
that's great.
EDC resolved to pay for ad space in the undercurrent.
yeah, all in favour?
All in favor?
Yeah.
And do we have to, and agree to pay for the buy local?
Oh, yeah, the membership thing.
The membership.
And the champion membership for
Yeah.
Buy Local.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
As long as they're
agreed.
budget allows it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we're good.
All right.
Okay, are we?
Moving on quickly, what's the next, Ed, you want to have a quick, your word?
Okay, tourism, I'll speak for tourism.
No.
Oh,
No.
no,
No, we're
No,
on
both are
5.4, no, we're on 5.4 sub-housing
Oh,
committee.
Oh, I'm gonna skip that one, because
Okay.
from what
Yes.
Daniel said, I'm gonna go talk to him first, so skip
Okay.
that one.
Then we're.
And you
then
can't speak
I've
to
got nothing
tourism.
say.
Okay.
No, Arts Council.
Well, you guys are looking at $95.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
So cheap,
Okay.
we should take a whole page.
They would love you, the undercurrent would. Is it my turn?
God, that's so cheap.
95
Well,
a
that's
week.
because,
Isn't very big.
can I speak as the former ad salesperson for
Yeah.
the undercurrent? Because trying to sell an ad to anyone on Bowen Island over $100 was like taking candy from, like it was impossible, pulling
Wow.
teeth, like.
Wow.
It was really hard. Ad sales on this island can be difficult, so we drastically reduced the rates a few years ago and
Wow.
it works, but yeah,
Wow.
yeah, anyways.
Okay, next.
Tourism Bowen Island.
Yeah.
I'll try and keep it within 10 minutes, sorry. Quite a bit going on, obviously. So at our last meeting, we have our AGM coming up on November 20th, which is Tuesday, from 5 to 7 at Docks. Paul Valley is the speaker. Paul is going to come and speak on community involvement in tourism. So as we all know, there's a huge backlash against tourism on this island right now, which has created a huge amount of tension and a lot of defensive attitudes and behavior, which isn't appropriate. So Paul's coming in to speak directly to that, basically. So I think it's worth. I've been telling everyone I see to come to this meeting, especially if I've heard from them specifically about how tourism has negatively impacted the island, because I want everyone to come and hear what Paul has to say. Paul is the former executive vice president of
Tourism, Vancouver.
Tourism Vancouver, yeah, and now he's retired from that and runs his own consulting business and has lived on the island for years.
Is it gonna be videotaped? Or?
I think
is it
so.
nothing?
Yeah, I think we'd like to. So that's definitely, I'll write that down for sure. And yeah.
Is Paul actually on your,
No,
No.
he's been asked. I'm not sure whether he'll do it this time. So that's the next point to that is at this AGM we have 2, if not three directors stepping down. One we haven't heard from, but she's only ever made it to one meeting, so we're kind of not considering, we're considering that she's stepping down. Allison is going to step down, and Murray is stepping down. So we'll be electing a new executive at the AGM. No one has really put their name forward for chair, or for any of them. I'm happy to stay on the executive, however they want me, or however I want to be there. I'm happy to continue that role. Yeah, so that's kind of it for the AGM. Then everyone please come. I
Okay.
do have a couple more things that I'd like to bring up though. We did talk about what Daniel alluded to about that one incident where there is an application forward for a temporary use permit for a Airbnb because there was a complaint brought forward to the municipality. So that was, Tourism Bowen Island was made aware of that. Obviously, we're very aware of the situation for housing. There's a few of us that are on the committee that are actually renters, so we're always in that precarious place of, will it ever happen to us? So yeah, we chatted a bit about that and how we need to be involved in or stay in the loop about what happens with that. Sorry, I just want to look at talk about some other things. I think, okay, 2 smaller things. Light Up Bowen's coming up. Yay, that's a fun event. Everyone come. We could use some volunteers if anyone's willing to help put out lights the day before. You can talk to Basha. Our Secrets of Bowen Island, for sure, we're going forward with that in a different way this year. So we're going to have a tearaway map. I came back from Squamish one day this summer with this map that basically showed all of the Squamish area and had all these businesses around it. They each had a number and then their number was on the map and it was brilliant. So we're going to work on something like that. So these businesses bought that space. And we're gonna work on, yeah, like I said, we're gonna work on that. And then the Secrets brochure is going to have basically everything it has in the past couple of years. But that brochure is really meant for off-island, so really putting it out there, right? A lot of people were sort of like, why do I need to advertise in this brochure and then have it on the island? Tourists are already here, they can already find me, that sort of thing. So the map part of it is more geared towards when you're on the island. The Secrets brochure is more geared towards when you're off the island. That's.
Can I ask a question about this brochure?
Yeah.
From what you talk about a lot of pushback. There seems to be pretty much a consensus that summer tourism is crazy. Why are we even doing another brochure?
And that question has come up. I mean, Jody could answer this a little bit better than I can, but she's kind of the person with her finger on the pulse because she's there at the info center. We all see the influx of tourists in the summer, but I think that's why we're focusing more on sort of a map kind of idea this year, is because what we see is, and I have seen this myself, when tourists come over here, they don't know what to do. And they go to the info center and they, so we still need that. There are people that don't even see that brochure that come over here because they saw something on the news about Bowen or, so it's necessary.
Is there any, we're the Economic Development Committee, and tourism obviously is a part of the economy. There doesn't seem to be any really close links. I mean, no, you sit on
So
both
can I
committees.
interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
And my next big point is that we really need to sit down with the EDC and sit down with the municipality and work on what is it that BIAC made all those years ago? I can never remember the name of
Tourism
it.
strategy?
Yeah,
Yes.
like a,
Yeah, master plan.
A master
Cultural
plan, cultural master plan, so tourism master plan. So that did come up. So this is the next phase of Tourism Bowen Island. We need to,
Tourism master plan?
a tourism master plan, and it needs to be, we need to do it in conjunction with the EDC and with the municipality. And that's part of the reason why Murray's retired, and he works so hard for tourism, and he's done
He's done
such a great
amazing.
job.
Yes, he
Yeah,
has.
but he needs to just now take a step back. He wants to take a step back because he's done what he does. He doesn't want to be the person that works on this master plan, right? So moving forward, the new committee, the new executive, the new people, this is what will come in. So
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit more hands-off of like, we'll still have little Facebook blasts here and there, and I think it's really important to stay relevant.
Mhm.
But I think that big marketing push will not necessarily be our focus for the coming year,
Yeah.
for sure.
And if we involve the municipality, there'll be opportunity for public engagement.
Yeah,
And I think,
absolutely.
yes, I
And
think
we,
that's
yeah.
important.
And we want public engagement.
Yes.
I think we welcome public engagement. I think it's hard when you're a person on this board and I definitely have had conversations with people who are very angry at me. And I don't take it personally, thankfully, but it was just sort of baffling to me because then on the flip side of that, I have conversations with people who are so grateful for what happens to their business when there is this craziness, right? Look at the people from Barcelona, they took 3 weeks off from work or a month off from work, right? And I'm sure that was a direct result of how busy they were this summer, which is great, right?
Yeah, you
We
hear that
should
from
be.
the restaurants especially.
Yes,
that
yes.
Summer is their bread and butter.
Totally,
And they're just
totally.
basically staying open after that to serve
Us.
Bowen, but it's not like they're making any money then.
No,
So,
no, yeah.
that's huge,
Yeah.
right?
And the final thing I want to speak to is and this has to do a lot with developing this tourism master plan, is that we are very broke as an organization. So we're supposed to have we are having this AGM on Tuesday. I was just emailing this morning with them about, what are we doing for providing some food? And we're not even 100% sure that we're able to do that right now. And Jody is owed some wages, so we need to look at how we can, develop a more comfortable
What is your revenue stream?
memberships and the sales from the Secrets of Bowen Island brochure. And that's it.
Well, you get 15,000 from the union,
No,
right?
we got 15,000.
I thought it was 15,000.
Was it? Oh, you know what, we might have, you could double check, but that's used for wages, like,
Yeah.
And it's
You get
all
money
used
from
for-
tourism.
sorry, so
PC.
yes, we get these grant money, but almost all of that money goes towards our summer staff and A lot of it is the in-kind, or not in-kind, but sort of the thing with the use of the building. I can't remember all the specifics of it. See, I don't have, and then the other side to this, I mean, we really need to move forward with better financial. We had our meeting a couple Tuesdays ago, and we were supposed to have a treasurer's report, and our treasurer hasn't been at a meeting in 6 months, and we didn't have up-to-date financials at the meeting. And I just sat there and I went, we can't, this is so inappropriate. This is so inappropriate. So,
Where is the meeting?
it's at Docs on Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
There's
Good.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I know, I feel like it's like Santa's workshop.
Is that Docs? It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even look like Docs. So,
Okay.
Just
Thank you,
one quick question. Did you, in your discussions, you talked about a map briefly. Did you discuss the Rob Wall map transfer to some other?
yes, and
Producer?
so this person that purchased that from Rob
Yeah.
is now aware that we had planned all along, and I again, we planned all along to do something similar because that again is a very delicate situation that I
Right.
choose not to get involved in or talk
Yeah.
about too much,
Yeah.
but I think that we will probably be the only map
Right.
now going forward.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
that was
Thank
kind of
you,
the
Maureen.
intention on it. Thank you.
Arts Council.
Our AGM is Sunday. We will be unveiling the new visual identity for the rebranded Arts Council, which is the Hearth Arts on Bowen. And there will also be some very interesting entertainment. There'll be, I don't know how to describe it, sort of hip-hoppy, Irish dancing. It'll be, and that's my way of doing it. Almost breakdancing, Irish dancing.
So you're going to be.
Yo, I'm gonna,
You're
I'm gonna, stomp my feet and fall on my head.
Yeah.
But I encourage everybody to come.
When is it again?
It's Sunday, 3 to 5.
This Sunday,
Yes.
from 3 to 5.
There'll be an ad in the undercurrent.
It's, yeah.
I've been away for 2 weeks, so the
Yeah,
fact
yeah.
that I remembered it was Sunday is a good thing, and I've got a part in it, so, yeah. And the other thing is, we're moving ahead, Jacqueline, who can't be here today, is moving ahead with Shauna. That's the interconnection between what we're doing at the Arts Council and the Muni for the community center, and that's moving ahead. So.
Cool. Good. Council's nobody here, staff? No. Province? No, not here, right?
She's not here.
Thanks for including
Yeah,
me.
you
Thanks,
escaped.
You can't leave.
Get out of here.
Was it riveting?
It was pretty good. I appreciate what you guys do for the pay that you get for this.
Nice. We seriously do have a vacancy, so jump in.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We do.
I'll consider that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Okay, work plan and budget.
No, we'll get right with the green. Okay, so we have money. The budgeting process is now. Okay, people are getting their budget requests in. Because we missed a meeting in September. I've been told that we can have the same amount next year.
Good.
So we will need to make a report and a request, but we've penciled in a request.
Good.
That said, we have $17,000.
Okay, so just listening because I'm sitting beside Mo.
I know.
And with the tourism thing. So and looking at it, so our business engagement budget, is that current after the contractor breakfast?
Yeah, business trades is in there, and if you're
393?
looking at that, you can see that that business trades breakfast was not cheap.
No.
So that is, that is why I went
that one
inwards.
was so expensive.
I called her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called her and I did some math, and it was a little bit more, it wasn't that much more, there were more people,
Yeah.
but I definitely followed up. So maybe coffee and muffins is. I
Well, and
think,
if it's more
obviously-
appropriate anyway, then
Yeah, if
that's
it's
great.
better,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So is Tourism Bowen's AGM food business engagement?
Okay, so I know I was hearing that too, knowing we have budget left over, but the fact that the municipality already gives money to
To
tourism
it's
as a
very
thing,
hard, I know, it's
it
tough.
would be, I can ask.
But what's remaining if we ditch
So it's the
that?
right
It's-
column, so the business summit.
Yeah, so
We
the,
have budget for that, and the speaker series, we have budget for that. And then the community economic development plan, budget for that, local economy summit, and collaboration grants. So we did the collaboration
so
grants.
collaboration
that money
grants are
is-
gone,
That's gone,
unfortunately.
yeah. And the local economy summit never happened.
The education.
And the economic development plan has now been segued into the rural dividend
Yeah,
application
So,
that the plan's
are
supposed
we
to
allowed to
generate.
ask to carry that amount forward to next year to, no?
We have in the past,
Just use it
No,
as a-
no, we didn't in the past. No, it's always, in my understanding,
you know,
you can speak.
we did, didn't we?
We are not allowed to.
No, we don't get, we don't get more and more budget every year.
No,
We
no,
get
but
an allocation.
We get, yeah, yes, we got our 25,000,
Right.
but,
We'll get
I'm-
25,000 next year.
yeah, but I'm under the impression that we don't lose, I mean, the 17,000, how do I put it?
As of January, you'll have
Yeah.
25,000 to spend for
Okay.
2019. You're
So
not
we
gonna
don't
have
care, we don't care if it's a
37,000.
rollover or not. But remember, years ago, we had that, every year we had $14,000 and the Muni applied it to next year's budget?
No, but we didn't give us another 14,000.
No, no.
Right, no.
So it's just the same.
And the only thing that's not on here, and I understood it came out of our budget, was the rental of porta potties over the summer. Didn't Maureen say that that came out of our budget? So I don't know how much
Yeah,
that
that's
cost.
right.
So, and
It's not in here?
no, and
Okay.
probably I'm guessing, because the collaboration grants didn't happen, so I'm guessing it.
It was just, I just signed something a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Miriam was showing me, so, yeah, that'll be, okay, that's great.
Well, because I mean,
So
it's just,
that's-
that's a
we need
good
to
thing
s-
for us to have spent it on.
Excellent, yeah, so
So-
thank you, Ron. So that, yeah,
So
that'll be
that-
about $5
Well,
grand.
can we, I think your idea of the buy and blow week thing is great. Can't we boost that up, but, get a half page instead of a fifth of a page and,
Yeah, could we?
Okay, so
For
I
next
should be
week.
taking notes.
because
Yeah.
especially around
I think
Christmas,
we've got the money,
Right.
especially around Christmas and the,
Okay, that's
and that buy local week. Can we take out a big ad that week?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Like spend the money?
Yeah.
And then maybe take out a more than, what are the, since you're here, what are the options? There's a fifth of a page, like a quarter,
Yeah,
half a page?
I actually don't, I
Usually
not
it's-
listen to the
yeah,
prices.
It's usually a quarter,
A quarter.
or a half a page is a nice size, especially
Yeah.
for
Half
that.
page, especially
Half
for
a
that
page is
thing,
a
yeah.
brilliant size.
Could
Yeah.
we do half a page instead of the tiny? And then, because we've got,
For the first ad?
at least for the
Yeah, for
first
the first
few,
time.
and especially
First
for
time.
December. I'd say for especially
Yeah,
December
lead up
for
to Christmas,
Christmas.
I think a half page is somewhere around 300.
That's fine.
But we've
Let's do it.
got thousands.
No, I know, I'm not saying that, I'm just off the top of my
But-
head, but.
But
No, no,
I'm not saying the
actually,
whole
but
time,
I
but-
don't think we should just spend money
No,
because
no,
we
no.
have it, but on the other hand, a half page is a really nice presence, it's not too overwhelming, but it's good, right? So
I think.
I would think
yeah.
a half page from now until
Till
the end of the year.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that would be.
It's not
really
that many
good.
weeks,
I could
right?
totally
It's,
do that.
Yeah.
Six.
Yes.
six.
Yeah, so for
Yeah,
6
yeah,
weeks,
yeah.
up into half a page,
That's
Yeah.
fine.
and then after that, drop down to the smaller
Yeah,
size.
that's good.
Maureen, when you give the price, you can't have a blink. You just have to say it's.
Oh, no,
It's-
I
it's
like
cheap.
yeah, I know, but I don't.
And I agree, thank you for saying that, I agree not to just spend money
Right.
for spending it, no, it's there, I agree, but yeah.
Half page
if
until
we've got it,
December, and then a quarter page
Till
from,
end of December, and then quarter page after that.
Well, let's do we've got how many weeks to Christmas? About 5 weeks.
5 or 6, somewhere
Yeah.
Well,
around.
let's do the next 6 weeks, half page.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Sorry, which budget line is, which?
That's only,
Well,
still
it's
only
not in
1,800.
there, right?
Oh,
But can you swap out collaboration grants, because that never happened, so could we put that into buy local campaign? Could we just, does that
oh,
make
so
sense?
like, no, collaboration grants is toilets, that's,
Was that the toilet?
Oh, okay, so
That's that.
that's toilets.
I mean, that makes sense to me, because it was
Okay.
like, just.
And then can we
Because the
take out,
collaboration grants went to the toilet.
this developed CED plan didn't happen this year, it's hopefully gonna happen next
And
year.
that would be rural dividend funds.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
Well, no, but we don't know.
We don't know, so
We don't know
say
if we're
local
getting
economy summit can be our play money?
Well, yeah, because that didn't happen actually, so that can be our buy local campaign.
Yeah, so if we do
Okay.
the next 6 weeks, half
That makes
page,
sense.
that's still only $1,800.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, because maybe, and I don't know if this is too much to ask, by next month, if we had an updated one,
Yeah,
with like, okay, so the buy local campaign's gonna cost this much, the toilets cost this much, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
And then, do we have to today or at next meeting, create our plan for next year
we should have it for next meeting.
and approve for next week? Okay.
Yeah. As I told you, they took some pressure off us with the budgeting process. We can slide through that, but it'd be nice to,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to go into
You-
2019.
I think you probably put a rough, ask for the same amount, but roughly allocate it.
So I
It's
think the next business summit we do, which
That's
is a
the-
general one, right? Like for everybody,
Yeah.
is gonna be really important, and it's gonna be probably very huge, because by that point, the business licensing
Mhm.
program will be
Yes.
underway. So if
Yeah.
we did it mid to, into the third quarter of next year, or maybe just before that.
So we've been doing it in January.
Mm.
I think we've been feeling like that's the time of year when people aren't
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
busy and they're kind
Yeah.
of especially the trades, well, tourism, all of them.
First one was done in October.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And-
Yeah.
and then
But
we-
Well, what
we
we
can
can-
do it anytime we want. I mean, that's the question. I think that's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say if we're gonna have one opportunity, that we should probably do it after the licensing program has had a chance to sort of
Yeah, that's
roll
good.
out, so maybe 6 months in or something, and then, because I think that's a really good opportunity for us to get a lot of feedback.
But I do
Do
think
you wanna-
that June would be sensitive. I
Yeah,
think
we
before
avoid the summer
March
at all
being the
costs.
latest.
I would say, should we aim for February, just given our
February.
timeline? I found when we did it in that third week of January was so hard,
Was it?
Mhm.
because of the lead up, because of Christmas craziness and trying to send out like requests and RSVPs and reminders in the middle of or end of December, like terrible.
Right.
So then the beginning of January, you're scrambling and you've got
Mhm.
like 3 weeks
Right.
or 20 days, you know what I mean? So if we did it actually more like mid or end of February, then we actually can start on it like in January with,
So, okay,
does that
so
make
If
sense?
we do
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, we're jumping into
No,
that.
no, I
Yes,
think that's
it's a
fine.
different agenda item.
It is a
Well,
different.
okay, so
agenda.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
7.2.
okay.
We gotta do the
Okay.
budget.
Okay, so let's,
Okay, so
okay,
the work plan and budget.
we're kind
Work
of,
plan
Sorry.
and budget. Steph will give us will update this budget now.
Okay, so the toilets are the collaboration grants, and you wanna get it properly.
and I just saw,
captured.
there is a note here, 3750 for the toilets.
Thank you.
It's on here, yeah.
And then the buy local campaign is gonna be taking the local economy summit space. And I will provide details on what that.
Are you able
costs.
to like do a save as and actively edit this
is
right
a-
now?
Yeah.
Let's not get into that, let's not get into that.
Okay,
Like,
so I was gonna say,
let's,
we can do it
that's something Steph can do.
Is that
Yeah,
something
but-
you can
but
do?
also-
Sure.
But no, I'm just wondering, like authority wise, are you allowed to do that and submit it, or do we have to approve it? Like, how does that?
I will do it and bring it back to you guys.
Okay.
But she's still working tally of where we're at.
Yeah.
There's nothing, nobody has to see it, we don't have to submit it or anything until
We
the.
don't need to
okay.
submit anything, I've already asked, they've already given us the money.
Oh, great, okay, so
Yeah,
The
so there's no
submitting is
pressure.
just for
No
council
pressure.
for our work plan, that doesn't have to happen before the budget is.
And we just have to explain in our annual plan why
Yeah.
we didn't spend everything,
Yeah.
and how we're gonna spend it all next year.
sounds good. Okay.
Okay, so can I, before we close our budget discussion, just return 1 minute to the tourism, Bowen. So what businesses are we engaging if we support food at the,
Well, I don't think we should be supporting food
AGM.
at the tourism
no?
AGM, that's not our role, we don't have a.
I feel like there's a bit of a, except for with Maureen, maybe when with Ed, there's a bit of a disconnect between the tourism Bowen
Well, I think that's the whole problem.
and the
That's-
EDC.
that's
So do you
really
think
the-
next year-
I'd like to actually step in on that and say that I don't think there has to be.
Yeah,
So I think that going forward, that we're trying not to, and actually,
Mhm.
it's a really weird thing for me to say, because I'm on both committees, but it would be a really great thing if the EDC came forward and said, hey, look, we'd like to help you out with your AGM a little bit.
like I think
I
in
think it would be a really
recognition
great-
at the
Almost an
AGM
olive branch,
for the EDC.
like not from the EDC, but like
Yeah.
just, there's been, there's frustration, for sure.
Frustration with us or frustration with,
Both,
from Tourism Bowen Island?
yeah, with both, yeah.
And I think if we think about who the Tourism Bowen Island members are who are gonna be at the AGM, they're not tourists, they're businesses on Bowen.
Yeah,
And those are B&B owners. Now, I think we've connected with restaurant owners in a meaningful way already.
Yeah.
Don't know that we've connected with B and B.
No, it's on the list, B and B owner,
And
like
it's on
accommodation.
our list too, right? There's, yeah.
What's the frustration with tourism board now?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, yeah, it's a conversation I don't really want to have here.
Okay.
It's, a part of it is stemming from what we talked about at our last meeting, which is that we do need to bring tourism into the fold of the municipality and the economic, back
Yeah.
into the fold. I don't know where it ever got, why it got pushed out in the first
Mm.
place. And I think with a shift in executive and membership, then that's a good start.
So Rod, you're proposing that we pay for the.
Not pay, can we not use that term? I would say gift.
Yeah, but, well, basically, what,
Or-
I was
sponsor,
thinking, if I was gonna make a
sponsor.
motion, like, I
Yeah.
think as a token amount, like, I
It
think,
doesn't
like,
have to be all of it.
I would say, like, say, the EDC would contribute $250 towards food and entertainment at the tourism, Bowen AGM, with the idea that we would be recognized as, you know, wanting to.
A sponsor.
As a sponsor.
Yes.
And supporting local businesses to engage in their association.
How much, theoretically, how much could we gift?
I don't know,
Can we gift?
Well,
I don't know
I
if
don't
we
know if
can,
gift is
honestly.
the
I feel
right
like
word,
it's-
I think it's
yeah.
just buy food for
Okay,
the
that's
AGM.
sure, whatever you guys want to do. And
Partner,
I think we need
partner
to-
with,
Well, isn't that a collaboration
For allowed.
grant?
Well,
yeah.
no,
Well,
I don't think it's a collaboration grant,
The
it's
co-
business
okay.
engagement. To me,
Okay.
it'd be the same as us
I
doing
just think,
breakfast.
I need to check with,
Yeah.
the CFO.
Please check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know one of the reasons that collaboration grants didn't happen is because we weren't allowed to give money to a business. on-
But this is an
Individual
association.
Individual businesses.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at, is this is a nonprofit organization?
Yes, we are a nonprofit.
Right.
We're
So
not
I'm just
charity.
gonna check, there's just that little bit, because there's already a relationship with TBI.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna check with,
So if
CCL,
Steph's gonna
CFO.
confirm, do we make a collective decision now to be confirmed by Steph if it's allowed?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to sponsor the refreshments at the AGM,
Well, food, we're not.
whatever you wanna call it.
Food.
It's in alignment with the breakfast meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
some recognition that it has been sponsored by the
Yeah.
EDC.
And would $500 be too much?
Oh, yes, no, we don't need that much. We're
Okay.
not anticipating that we're feeding people.
Well,
to our-
and I'm also looking at the trade breakfast was $250, so
Yeah.
if it's the same as the
Yeah.
trade's
There.
breakfast.
And you know what, I think that $250 that we've been spending is some of the best money we've spent,
Yeah,
because it's
Oh, yeah.
it's got us out there with the.
So
I would say 250.
250?
Yeah, just because we're not, like, we're
Okay.
not feeding people, we just want a couple.
Okay, let's
So
do it.
250,
That's all
to
good.
be confirmed by staff, if
Okay.
it's possible.
Okay, so the work plan and budget, Stephanie's gonna update it for next time, and then yes,
For the 2019 work plan, we'll be thinking about that for next month,
Yeah.
or next month's meeting.
yeah,
But how about including TBI collaboration as a work plan item?
sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we'll figure out what that looks
Yeah.
like.
Figure what that looks like.
Once you have a new
Yeah.
executive
Especially with the
and-
master plan happening, I think that's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, well, the idea of a master plan happening.
Cool. Good, we all done the budget?
I think so.
Good. The business summit,
There you go.
Now we're there.
So, so we're talking about, my understanding is that late February would be a good time?
Given where we are now, and we still have to plan it, and we
Yeah.
haven't booked a venue, like, nothing's happened, right?
Mhm.
So I think if we aimed for mid to end of February? What,
I like that, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
you were saying 6 months
No,
in.
I'm fine. I was just
Yeah.
a suggestion that I think it's, instead of then it would being an opportunity to sort of get feedback from the rollout of the business licensing, then in that case, it could be, part of it could be another
some more education?
informational,
Yeah.
educational
But it'll be-
opportunity.
Let's
that-
say if we aim for the end of the month, that's like 2 months, like, really, people should have
Yeah, and there'll be a
figured
lot
it
of
out by then,
conversation
and they'll
on
have
that point,
questions, and
so
they'll.
actually, we'll just.
Moved it into like mid-March. Of course, we've got school breaks.
No, I think school break and stuff, I
Yeah,
think we wanna,
right.
let's aim for third or fourth week of February, do you
Okay.
wanna put the feelers out for the venue?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
just love that venue.
Camp.
What menu?
Is it not available?
Well, there's just some
Oh, there's all that stuff happening.
Are you talking about the lodge?
The lodge and the, okay.
So,
What are alternatives then?
okay, we'll put an action item for me to.
Okay,
What
explore.
do we think, Tuesdays are good, was that?
I think we've been
Tuesdays?
doing it Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Kate's.
So
Yeah,
third
just
Tuesday.
cooking and food is hard up there, but I guess if a caterer brings it in. Well, we do a full-on served dinner.
Yeah, no, I've been at one of these, but
So Tuesday the
it
12th,
could be catered.
Tuesday the 19th.
I'm gonna try the 19th, yeah.
Yeah, 19th or whatever the next one is. Just,
Okay.
yeah,
Depending
19th,
on maybe the
26th. Let's just
Right.
sort of see
19th or venue.
venues, caterers. Yeah, the venue might be tricky.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay, we did the volunteer appreciation event at the Legion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, artisan, oh my god, that food.
So good, it was the last one.
Stupid
Yeah,
good.
actually, the Legion might work. Anyways, we'll let you, we'll
Yeah,
let you
the
do it.
Legion would work because they have a full kitchen there that's certified, so.
Yeah, as
And
long as
it's
it can
good for
fit the
winter,
people.
too.
As long
Yeah.
as it can fit the number of people, because like, we've had a lot of people. Like
It'll be interesting to see how the numbers are
80.
affected by business license.
80 to.
We can do 90 to
100.
100 for dinner there.
Oh, okay.
That's
So maybe
okay.
that'll work.
Let me double check that.
How many attended the last one?
75.
75
Ish.
total with all committee members and everybody?
That seems low, that seemed pretty.
Low.
It seemed
Oh,
packed.
that
No, I thought it was
seemed
closer
pretty
to
full, that
100.
room.
I thought it was like 90 to 100 people.
Okay,
No, but just including all the committee members and the staff, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
there's 15 of us by the time you
Still
count all
need
the
room,
committee
exactly,
and
yeah.
the facilitators,
Yeah.
and you know, that adds the numbers.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't think we need that right now. So
Okay.
you work
Oh,
away on the
and I
venue
will look at the,
and the date. And then who would like to, I'm certainly happy to help, like on the planning committee for it. And it could either be work of this new engagement committee, or it could just be working
Yeah.
group if you want, or it could be a whole separate thing.
I think that, well,
You're
it
o-
makes sense that we put it under the engagement.
Yeah, and Rod, are you okay with that?
Sorry, I have to admit, I'm just distracted.
Nope, that's okay. Got it. You mean you have to earn some money while you're?
Well, I have a truck trying to get on the ferry.
Ah,
so,
right, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I think perhaps we can talk about this, put this as an agenda item for the next
For
meeting,
next month. Okay.
when we know what the date is.
Perfect,
And then we
let's do
can
that.
talk about,
And that's the nice thing, we don't have to start planning in December.
Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
We
so
can
then,
start planning in January.
yeah. I mean, once we have the date,
planning.
once we have the date, and the
Yeah.
venue and the caterers sorted out,
Yeah.
getting together the agenda
I
up
think
is
the
pretty.
only thing that we would want to do early is like a save the date, which I think we did last time to our
we just-
email
yeah,
group, we
once
just do a
get the
save the
venue,
date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I speak to the agenda? We had talked about having, like, we have money for speakers.
Yeah,
Right.
So wouldn't it be fun to pay someone fabulous to
it
come?
would be great, yeah.
So in that, if that's the case, then we might want to give a little bit of thought to the agenda
Okay.
now-ish.
What kind of speaker, who,
Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
more like a
exactly,
speaker,
that's
yeah.
the thinking. So we want to do a little bit on business licensing. I think we want to do a little bit on business continuity, emergency planning.
I always like to get that in
Yes.
if we can.
The template of business license intro, a year later.
Yeah.
And so that would be the same template where the continuity is introduced, and then a year later, it's developed, and
Yeah,
we
no,
can
I-
do like that. What else?
You know what I would love
Community economic
to see, I don't know who it is or even what the situation is, but a speaker who could speak to us about land use planning and businesses on Bowen with a long-term vision. Like, looking at
good
other
idea.
smaller
Yeah.
communities and what they've done for land use
Mhm.
planning. If we could find any kind of, someone who had that kind of experience and like community visioning for how we go forward.
And that really ties into the community economic development.
Right.
Like it might
Yeah.
actually be somebody around that world, so community economic development, land planning,
well, I think
that could
perhaps
be really
how about something
interesting.
about the community, about the whole
Yeah.
idea of community. economic
Yeah.
development.
So
Yeah,
I wonder.
Maybe one of the
yeah.
speakers that we've had already in the group.
Or we could see if we could find some, like, not to disparage any of the ones that we've had, but they've also been very sort of practical and like people
Yeah.
from councils and stuff. There might be some, like, I'm thinking from SFU, from their
Yeah. that's-
Center
yes,
for
yeah.
Community,
yeah, totally.
economic development. You know, like a really, somebody who's used to giving like this is a keynote
We had
speaker, I
someone from
think, right?
SFU.
You know, someone who gets paid to do this.
Yes, yeah, and so, and I don't know if I've seen that one, so maybe I've.
And the other subset of that is, a couple of years, remember when we had the meeting at the lodge and we had the woman come in about buy local or that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Amy.
Amy,
The one at the lodge at the dorm.
yes.
Yeah.
Someone like that, who's in the profession and, you know, who can, a formal presentation, question and answers.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Cool.
I have someone, a couple of people for Rod's, the land use planning, the conference I went to in Kelowna, there were a couple of firecrackers there.
Okay, that could be
Probably
really
won't be
interesting.
cheap, but
Mhm.
When do we find out if we have the money to hire our community economic development officer person?
Maureen
A couple of
knows.
months I.
End of January.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, great, because I
Why don't
think
we
they
get
had
someone
not.
who's already?
Oh, no, sorry, we don't find out. The deadline for the application is the end of January.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it's already
No,
passed.
it's
We
already
submitted this in
done.
July.
Yeah.
And from last I heard, they were not giving weren't giving an announcement date. Because they were just, it was the last round, they were sifting
Yeah.
through things. It's
Oh,
not
sorry,
happening
I'm
again.
confused.
No, that's okay, it's the
Yeah.
rural dividend or
Yeah.
whatever it
Well,
is. one,
since
so
we're gonna be getting
we don't
into that,
know.
I'm hoping,
Mm.
why don't we get someone who is in a role like that?
Role of,
If we're talking about a speaker for our event.
yeah, role of.
Somebody who is already a
Yeah.
community economic development officer, who is a really good speaker, and somebody
Yeah.
who we
I think looking into all those options,
Yeah.
and I really
since
like.
that's the route we're
yeah.
going, it would
Yeah.
be really nice to have someone like that. It's a nice intro into us getting that, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
And I like your focus on the land use planning and business, so whether that's something to
Yeah.
give them a focus of their talk
Yeah.
or, but yeah, I think given that, you can
I
probably.
think land use is gonna appeal to some people, but I'm not sure that it's gonna appeal to.
No, I
people,
wouldn't, you
so-
wouldn't want them to focus the entire
Yeah.
talk on, you know, the history and future of
Well,
land use planning.
council will be,
The one I'm thinking of will appeal to everyone, because you just
Okay.
sparks the room on fire,
Ah.
That's
so,
what we want.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got, just given, if we repeat the same thing, we have a fair bit of budget. So even if they were a few $1,000s, I don't know how much speakers cost, I think we have the room in the budget to bring somebody really good in. That could be
And we've
great.
got a bit of flexibility around the date, so, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
if you find the right person, tell them, look, if the 19th doesn't work, we can do it the 20th or the following week.
What date were you thinking of?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking the 19th or 26th, but again, very loose, very loose. Only just because we don't want it too soon if we're starting planning in January, we don't want it too, but again, if you have a great speaker, let's work with their
Yeah.
schedule.
All right, so the resolution is that you're gonna look into the date and venue and a speaker, a keynote speaker.
Great.
Fantastic, with a community economic bias who can light up the room.
What, as per notes, okay, all in favor?
Good,
Agreed,
Yes.
yes. Aye.
good job, guys. And Stephanie, I'd really like to say thank you to you for, you know, you're being really a great
Impressive.
resource for us.
No, you're
Great,
fantastic.
Great initiative and great energy, it's really much appreciated.
yes.
You do
I second
great
that.
work.
Yes.
Yes.
A second.
Yes, all in
All
favor.
in favor of that, yeah. Good, well, I think we're done. If the letter of support, if anybody would like to sort of maybe copy that individually, they
Yeah.
can use that to send it to the council. And then next meeting, Friday, December the 14th, I'm afraid I won't be here that day. Well, not afraid. I'm
You're
happy
not
I'll
afraid.
be
Yeah.
here.
You simply won't.
But is it, do you want to,
I'm coming
change
in.
the date, or do you want to? The following date, the following Friday is getting pretty close to
Yes, it is.
Christmas.
How about
I
the
won't be
7th?
here then.
How about the 7th?
We
I
have
won't
the
be here
housing
now,
advisory
but-
committee
Okay.
in the morning that
Yeah.
day.
Because I'm coming in the night of the 13th, I think, and I might not be here, I'm not, it's iffy if I'm here on the morning of the 14th.
Well, Rod, I guess you could chair the meeting if you.
I could chair the meeting on the 14th. I wonder if we're gonna have a
we're
quorum
gonna have a
with
quorum.
Ed and John both away.
Well, but we've got several people that couldn't make this week that
Yeah,
hopefully would make.
you might make it,
And I
just not
might,
be able
and
to
I might make,
chair.
I might make it,
Yeah.
yes, I could make it, I just,
And I think our quorum's slightly less because we're down a member.
Well, let's
Our
leave
quorum
it
is
for that
less,
for now,
yes.
because the other thing's a good alternative.
okay.
One update on membership is that Michelle has now officially resigned, so we do actually have another space, so Steph, we should be asking
Advertised, yeah,
advertisers
just
for
that I usually get the,
Cam would be great.
Oh,
yeah.
do you want to apply again?
Don't be smart. I said, I'm not inviting anyone to apply. I don't want to raise any the expectations.
You're really good at ringing around and getting
Yeah.
people to be there,
Yeah.
so you should do
Yeah.
that.
Can I have 2 minutes on the community story thing? I forgot to
Yes.
put,
Yes.
I forgot to put it in the agenda. You'll have to excuse me, I'm jet lagged, tired, and distracted. We had a meeting on October 30th. And it was pretty much the full committee. We decided,
Except for
I explained my frustration and, we talked about this. And Chris Corrigan said, let's just do a bunch of small things, kind of, no big hooplas, do a little of this, a little of that, throw stuff out and see how it works. So we're rethinking, we rethought the stories in the newspaper. And he's leading with a wonderful letter that he took mine and tossed it and wrote a better one. And it may be in today, I don't know, but also talked to Bronwyn about doing just a kind of an interview. And it's not about better for being here. It's basically, why we love Bowen Island, and just try to get this kind of thing going in the community again. The things that grab our hearts, the reasons we live here. Kylie did some very nice work pulling together some video snippets that will give us some idea of doing this 3 to 5 minute video.
I haven't even looked at, but I'm going to.
Yes, and you've got some snippets that you might be able
I
to
might,
use.
yeah.
Owen Plowman next spring is doing 4 hikes into the potentially logging areas, and they're actually going to be tagging these are areas that are going to be tagged. We're actually going to invite the Minister of Forest, whatever it is, the forestry and
money.
not what it is, but it's
Flintrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Flintrow,
Yes.
it's our ministry.
Yes.
Forest Lands Natural
Yes,
Resources.
that's it, yes. So, it was very good. So we're going to continue. We don't have another meeting, and again, this is this kind of, let's almost just low-key, underground, talk about it, put it out there, just, in various shapes and forms. We are identifying, the EDC is identified in the initial letter, but after that, we're hoping that, people just pick it up. Chris had a brilliant idea, and as we had the meeting, he went on Facebook and said, tell us little stories about why Bowen grabbed your heart. And we had, 3 or 4 by the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
So that's going
People
on.
started replying.
So I mean, those kinds of things, and
Cool.
so we'll see where this is going. I'm going to, as I said, I'm back in the saddle until maybe June. I'm not gone all the time, but
I think it would be great to have a little update about the story at the summit.
yes,
And sometimes, this stuff is, I would encourage you, because I think sometimes this stuff is just very subtle, but
yes it is.
very powerful. I was speaking about the last council to my wife, actually. She said it's amazing how harmonious it was,
Yes.
really, considering the different
Yes.
diversities of
Yes.
opinion. And she said, I wonder if your branding thing, which she mocked me mercilessly about, has something to do with that. And I actually think,
Maybe you did.
having there's a sort of common shorthand there for what's important,
Yes.
that maybe has an effect. You can't measure these things.
No, I saw it in some of the messaging was, a sub-narrative of some of the councillors' campaigns, whether it was intentional or not. We don't care if it's intentional or not. It's a good thing, This is a place where we thrive.
Well, there was very little conflict in the
Yes.
public meetings and that
Yes.
kind of thing. It was sort of like everybody was doing with everybody else.
Shall we
Yeah,
adjourn?
yeah. But,
You make the motion.
okay, but thank you, guys. Thank you for the meeting. Thank you for the
thank
energy.
you.
Thank you for the ideas. And
Oh, did you want to do a critique?
Yeah.
do you want to do?
Do I do it for you?
Sure. I call it not a critique, because
Sorry.
that's when people
Check
criticize the chair. But
I know, I thought, what is
let's call
this?
it a check out.
Check out.
Critiques are so much more fun.
Exit interview.
Exit interview. For each meeting?
Do you understand?
Yeah, this was interesting because we were small.
Yeah.
We didn't have the province on the phone, which I sometimes find distracting because we lose them and then we have to go back and call them.
Mm.
And it's not always clear when they're talking on the speakerphone. I thought it was a good meeting. I thought
Yeah.
we covered a lot. So I give it an A.
Yes. Yeah, I feel really great for being able to bring all that stuff about TDI to the
Yes.
board, and I hope I see you on Tuesday.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Robert, you
Yeah,
want to-
ditto, and I'm excited about our new little working group. I
Yes.
like the idea of actually having a little bit of focus on the engagement, and I was glad to hear from Cam. Like, I would like to see it as a regular thing. It'd be nice to have, like you say, to actually ask. He said it was the first time anybody asked. That's great. Like, we should be doing that hopefully on a regular basis, so I'm excited.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm excited about that working group too, so I think it's really important, and I enjoy it, I really do enjoy it, so,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a good meeting and really appreciate I'm going to have my own personal action item to go write my community center letter of support,
Yes.
so that would be great.
Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you, everyone.
There's
for-
no order.
There's no order, well, we seem to be, and I guess if you want to, yeah, I'm also going to read a letter. We'll chat later today, hopefully. Right? Yeah, I'd like to know sort of by the end of today,
Okay.
that can happen. Sorry for rushing you, but then I need to communicate that with docs, so,
Should be okay.
yeah, okay.
Whether it's gonna be water or nibblies.
Right? It's just so bad.
I like the call to action. I know I can be a little aggressive about that sometimes, but
That was good.
making quick
Good.
decisions on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the buy local campaign.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I feel like there's, what you're doing with the stories is similar. It's
There
like,
is.
you know what, stop with the big plan and just
Yes, exactly.
doing
Just-
it.
Just doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Same page.
As they say in the headquarters of Facebook, done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
I think one thing I like is when people come in just to observe. And I was wondering whether or not when we send around the agenda, if we could maybe circulate that to a wider email list, just say to people who are not on the committee, welcome to come. Because I think the more engagement we have with people, the more people understand what we're doing,
Mhm.
the more people will get volunteering, the more people will,
Joining
will
subcommittees.
just, yeah. So it's
I know it's hard, but could you maybe add something to the Muni community page in the undercurrent? Like please feel free to.
EDC
Join us.
committee
Yes.
welcomes,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
and
there's so many committees, I don't know, are you?
No,
allowed-
No,
I know,
it's fine.
I know, but it's something
No, that's
that-
fine. The only
Yeah.
thing is implying, sometimes people are saying, oh, is it open? They're all open.
Yeah.
They're only closed if
It's
something's
not
big going
closed.
down, the door's shut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a sign on the door, so I just have to be careful about not making it look like other ones aren't open. And I can add something, I'll ask Janet too, she does
just,
that.
just talk
a little
about it as
like,
an invite,
come on,
that,
come
just a
on.
reminder that
Yeah.
our doors are open, or, our meetings are open,
Yeah.
and we love
we
having,
welcome feedback from the public.
Yeah.
So okay to serve the public.
Well, wasn't somebody supposed to be here today?
Joan.
Joan.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you. I hate to say it. but it's-
Maureen.
It's fun, you had fun?
Yeah, well, we hired
Get to